Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Trip on that big, for God's sake. Yeah, another Oh, you are? Yeah. After you hit everybody else. Because look. I'm Grandpa Gertrude. Well,
Yeah, okay.
Mike's.
Yep, I got you.
What?
That makes sense.
They're like sisters. No. My Grandpa Gertrude. Not your
Yeah, my grandmother is a little older.
Now you're going to talk about like
I'm going to M down.
Alright, call meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Here. 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 4 proclamations. A National Night Out, August 4th, 2026. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch, NATW, is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, entitled National Night Out. And whereas the 43rd Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for village residents and neighboring communities around Baldwin, Wisconsin to join forces with over 38 million neighbors, among thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. And whereas Baldwin Police Department plays a vital role in assisting the area police departments and the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office through joint crime, drug, and violence efforts in Baldwin and St. Croix County, and is supporting National Night Out 2026 locally. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of Baldwin, Wisconsin be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and impact their participation can have in reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Baldwin. Whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out programs. Now therefore, I, Lance Van Dam, Village President, do hereby call upon all citizens of Baldwin, Wisconsin to join Baldwin Police Department, the National Association of Town Watch, in supporting this 43rd Annual National Night Out on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. Further, let it be resolved that I, Lance Van Dam, Village President, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 4th, 2026 as National Night Out in the Village of Baldwin. Five, consent agenda, A through E. Anybody want anything pulled out to talk about? Second. Motion and a second to. What do you guys do? There's a motion and a second to approve consent agenda A through E. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6, regular agenda. A, update Chippewa St. Croix Rail Commission. Scott Rogers, Chairman.
Me.
Scott, been a while.
Thank you, appreciate it. And I think Mark's gonna pull some slides up and switch them for me. There are quite a few of them, but I move pretty fast. My name is Scott Rogers. I just retired this spring after 12 years at the Eau Claire Area Chamber of Commerce, where I was the Director of Governmental Affairs for those 12 years. And part of my role there was to work on the passenger rail issue, which the Chamber was already advocating when I moved to Eau Claire 24 years ago. And I happen to have been appointed to some organizations, and I've continued to do that after my retirement. So I'm currently serving on the Chippewa-St. Croix Rail Commission, and I was just elected its chair. And the Village of Baldwin is a member of that commission. I also am a chair of the West Central Wisconsin Rail Coalition, which is an advocacy organization that's been around since 1999. And then one other thing I'll reference is that I've been pretty involved in the issue. The governor appointed me in 2019 to a commission called the Midwest Interstate Passenger Rail Commission, which is an 8-state upper Midwest commission that coordinates among the states for passenger rail development. So I'm going to go through these kind of fast, and to the extent you have time, I'd be glad to answer any questions or answer them afterwards if you'd like. So there's a map up there right now, which is what we mean by West Central Wisconsin. We're primarily talking about the current Union Pacific rail corridor, where tracks already exist between Eau Claire, Menominee, Baldwin, Hudson, and on into the Twin Cities. You can go to the next one. When people think about trains in this area, this is a lot of times the image that comes up. Anybody here ever heard of the old 400?
Oh, yeah.
A few of you, right? So if you go to the next slide, that started in the 1930s, 400 miles in 400 minutes between Chicago and the Twin Cities. Here's a more modern view of the 400 after it ran with diesel locomotives. And the one before that, looks like we jumped ahead, but that's okay. You can tell by the way people are dressed in the platform in Eau Claire that that wasn't a modern picture. In fact, 1963 was the last time a passenger train scheduled ran on this line. The next picture is a little closer to here. That's actually Menominee in the 1940s. Students, as I understand it, from Stout leaving for spring break. You can go to the next picture. That isn't from the 40s. That's a contemporary picture from Champaign, Illinois, where the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana is one of those communities that has passenger train service now. And in fact, there are lots of places around the country, and even in our upper Midwest, that have trains. And if you go to the next one, you're not going to be able to read this, but there's a town, Normal, Bloomington, Illinois, which is in central Illinois. A community a lot like Eau Claire, a mid-sized city with a state university. About 12 years ago, they invested in improving their passenger rail station. They have several trains a day that stop there, and they say they've had about $200 million in economic activity right around the station because of those investments. And if you look at the next picture, that's a little bit of the corridor they're on, and they've had hotels and housing and other things go up in that area. And the commission I'm on a couple of years ago, we had our fall annual meeting there, and I had a chance to experience that city. But it's not just the mid-sized and bigger cities. The next slide is of Macomb, Illinois, which is another city in central Illinois where they have passenger rail service, and the city actively advertises the fact that they have passenger rail service when they're talking to people about investing in their city. And then the next slide talks a little bit about the investment you get, and it's really happened in all kinds of cities around the country. Denver, Southern Florida, and Miami. I mentioned Normal, Illinois already, and then organizations like the AARP are talking about how older citizens can take advantage of being able to travel by train. So not just the places that have already had trains. You can go ahead to the next one. There was a new train just started here in Wisconsin about 2 years ago in May. For many years, we've had the long distance service that goes through from St. Paul through Red Wing, La Crosse, Tacoma, on into Milwaukee and Chicago, and it was a train from the West Coast called the Empire Builder. Quite often runs a little bit late. And 2 years ago, the states of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois got together and started a second train on that route called the Borealis. Had a chance to ride the inaugural in May of 2021. I'm sorry, May 21 of 2 years ago. And the picture you can kind of see there is the ribbon being cut in La Crosse with the mayor there and the governor and a bipartisan group of state legislators. And I always point that one out, having worked for the chamber in Eau Claire, because the chamber provided the scissors there in La Crosse. And we really want the Eau Claire chamber and Menominee chamber and the others along the line to be able to have a scissors cutting one of these days. But one thing about the Borealis is it's just a very modest addition in service, and it's far exceeded its ridership expectations. So it's averaging about 200,000 riders a year now. And then another picture is the next one, another service that just started between New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama, called the Mardi Gras. That has also, it started just last summer. It's also far exceeded its ridership expectations. And in fact, you can see on my next couple slides how communities are embracing that. So that's the Visit Mobile. Advocate has a whole page on their website on how you can take the train to Mobile and take advantage of being a tourist there. And then I have a couple more that are closer to home with the new Borealis. This is Visit Red Wing, talking about coming there by train. The next one is the same thing. Their trolley shuttle, talking about how you can take the trolley to other places when you get in. And then one other corridor I want to talk about, because it's been so many years since we've had service here. The Downeaster is a train between Boston and Portland and then on to Brunswick, Maine. So it's similar to Eau Claire to Twin Cities, and that's a big city at one end and some other communities along the other end. And it lost service in the mid-1960s like we did, but they went 35 years without any train service. It started 25 years ago, and now they're up to 5 trains a day, and it's been a very, very successful corridor. And then one other thing, just to mention, you go to the next one, is that Amtrak, the national passenger train system, had all-time revenue and ridership last year. So we have the public responding to this is something, even though we have very limited service, that they'd like to have. So the next slide, I'm just summarizing a few things that why passenger rail has been successful and why communities are interested in having it. One, it is a way to attract and retain business and talent. It adds another transportation opportunity. A lot of people who don't want to drive for every trip find it be convenient, and a lot of younger talent that we're trying to attract to our businesses find it something that they like in the community. It's also a convenient, economical, and environmentally friendly alternative when you don't want to drive. And even if you don't ride the train, for instance, on this route, if we take several hundred cars every day off I-94 and you're still going to drive I-94 somewhere you can't take the train to, it's going to benefit you. It can accelerate economic growth, it can improve our quality of life and tourism. It can add some safety and resiliency to our transportation system. 2 miles east of here, as I was coming in from Eau Claire, there's a sign up that says we've had 22,000 people and 2,200 people in Wisconsin die on highways this year. So highways are very, very dangerous, and it's a safe road. And then it is a strong economic return on the public investment that we need to do. I have a couple examples of that if you go to the next one. This was a paper that the states put together when they were talking about starting the Borealis. And the cost to Wisconsin to maintain that service is about $3.6 million a year. But the total economic benefits that they've measured is about $25 million. That's anticipating it. And the next one is even more telling. The state of Missouri supports a service between St. Louis, Jefferson City, Kansas City, and a bunch of intermediate cities. In fact, a lot of smaller cities like Baldwin and Menominee and others. And they did a comprehensive study of the value of those trains. It cost them about $16 million a year to maintain that service. And you can't read the numbers very well here, but what they show is the economic activity that was created by the train generates about $97 million in tax revenue and $478 million in total economic activity. So if you're a business and you put an investment in something, it's going to cost you some money, but what can come back to you? So what about West Central Wisconsin? So what does this mean for us where we don't have service now? And some things that we pointed out, you can go to the next slide. The West Central Wisconsin Rail Coalition has been working on this for a while. And some of the key attributes that they've seen is we do know that we have some of the fastest growing cities and counties in the state here in West Central Wisconsin. It would create easier access to and from the cities, Twin Cities and other metro areas. We do think there'll be future extensions to Madison, Milwaukee, and Chicago. Accessibility for our institutions of higher learning. And we do know that a high percentage of the travel in this corridor is to and from the cities. We probably aren't going to build any more St. Croix River bridges, so as they become more congested, that'll be an issue. And then you can connect to other things such as light rail, BRT, buses, and ride sharing when you get to the cities. And since the early 60s when we first had service here, when we last had service here, Baldwin has increased its population by about 4 times, and Eau Claire has actually increased its about double. And so there are more people here, more reasons to travel, and we've seen Baldwin become a commercial and medical center, and it's a reason to consider having trains stop here. So if organizations like West Central Wisconsin have been working on this since the late 90s, so what's different now? And I'm going to talk about that next. So the next slide is something brand new, or brand new as of 2021. So if you've heard of the bipartisan infrastructure law, which covered all of transportation, for the first time it actually included a specific process and funding for developing and improving rail corridors. So you're not going to be able to read this, but it tells you that there is a pipeline, and there's something called the Corridor Identification and Development Program, the first kind of 3 parts of this, where the Federal Railroad Administration, which is the USDOT division that runs this, said we're going to invite entities around the country to ask to be in this program and then to develop rail corridors. And what's also significant about this is the next chart that the FRA put out, because there's funding that came with that. So you can't read this, of course, but you can see that there's a box circled there, and that was the first year of the bipartisan infrastructure law. And this chart shows that all of those years before that was the amount of funding that went into passenger rail nationally, and then the bars after that. So every year of the bipartisan infrastructure law, there's as much funding as the previous 10 years. The other thing that's very significant about that is because there wasn't funding before, there was only a few discretionary grants, but states and localities had to fund 100% of rail development. Now most of these programs are 80 to 90%, just like highways, streets, airports, things like that. So simultaneous to this, we knew some of this was coming. So the next slide talks about the Chippewa-St. Croix Rail Commission. So I'm not sure how many of you were on the board in 2021, but at that time, Eau Claire County and some of the other municipalities along here said, we're interested in this, what more can we do? And so Eau Claire County's Corporation Council drafted a resolution that they offered to communities throughout West Central Wisconsin that are on this corridor, saying, if you pass the same resolution, we'll start a commission to look at how we can advance this. And so in 2021, St. Croix, Dunn, and Eau Claire counties, and then 6 municipalities, Altoona, Eau Claire, Menominee, Baldwin, New Richmond, and Hudson, all passed those resolutions and said we're going to start this commission. And so each of them is represented on the commission itself. And if you go to the next slide, I just have some additional things to mention. So there are other stakeholders involved in this, and so certainly the Union Pacific, whose railroads whose tracks the trains would run on, the DOTs of both states, Ramsey and Washington counties in Minnesota. In fact, Ramsey County owns Union Depot and is interested in having more service. A regional planning commission, and then the 5 institutions of higher learning in our region have all become ex officio members and have been very active in the commission. And then the commission invited the Rail Coalition to also be a member. So its purpose, which is the next slide, is to advance the public interest by pursuing passenger rail service and other transportation improvements in our area. So given that this was happening, that the commission was formed, it was formed under state statutes that allow municipalities and counties to get together to do transportation planning. And when it was started, Eau Claire County offered to be the administrative and fiscal agent, so they've been operating it, and then Dunn County has been hosting the commission's meetings. So what happened then was the bipartisan infrastructure law invited entities starting in December of 22 to say, we want to be in this program. So there's an application process. And the next page is a kind of a picture of the cover of the application that the Chippewa-St. Croix Commission put in. So to let you know about the timing, December of 22, they announced the program. You had to apply by March of 23. In December of 23, they announced that we were in the program. So they selected several corridors around the country saying you're going to be in this program. Got a notice to proceed in June of 24 that yes, the funds are coming your way, you can hire a consultant. and then it's been going since that time. So the next page just mentions a couple things about the application that we put in. First of all, we want to meet some important transportation needs, but there are also a few other aspects of it that are a little bit innovative. One is that we aren't assuming that Amtrak would be the operator. There is a trade association of organizations that run trains on contract. They run a lot of commuter agencies. They actually, there's 4 members of that trade association. They each carry more passengers and run more trains than Amtrak, but you don't see their name on anything. They're interested, and they say they can be more efficient than Amtrak. Also working with Union Pacific on access to their tracks, and then to have enough trains every day to allow that development around the stations. One other thing I'll mention is on the next page. Wisconsin DOT also submitted and was accepted to do a study of a Milwaukee, Madison, Eau Claire, Twin Cities route. That's getting underway. We're coordinating with Wisconsin on that. If you heard about them applying for a grant to extend service to Madison, that's actually part of that study. They're looking at phasing it, so the route through here would come at a later stage. The next slide just shows you what the process is. So there's 3 steps to the core RID. The first one that we were accepted into is called scoping. You basically set up for a big study that was fully funded by the federal government. The second one is the one we're about to enter in, and why I'm giving you an update tonight in particular, and that's called a service development plan. And that's the one where you really figure out if you have something that's feasible. You look at where the stations would be, what's going to cost to use the tracks, what would the ridership likely be, what would be the return on investment, and issues like that. And the next page just kind of shows a little bit of what's in there. You don't expect you to read that, but you get into all of those kinds of details. So it's really the heart of the study. And then the third stage is you get into engineering and environmental clearances. So this is really the one, at the end of it, it's about a 2-year study. You say, do we have something or do we not? Would Baldwin be a stop, and would all the trains stop in Baldwin? Those kinds of questions would be answered in the service development plan. Our understanding is, from the consultant, is that they've estimated it'll take about 2 years to do that study. So that would be the next slide here. So just sort of an update on where we are then. We have now fully submitted everything for step 1, and we're waiting for approval from FRA, which we think will come at any time. And then you are automatically put into step 2 if you can go ahead with it and you're ready to go. And so what's the good news about step 2 is that it's 90% federal funded, like a lot of other things. The bad news about step 2 is it's 90% federally funded. You still have to come on 10%. And we had hoped that the state of Wisconsin would have some funds to do that. They did not put that in their budget this time, and we do want to keep the process moving. So where we are is, it looks like this core SDP will take about 2 years to complete, and the consultant has estimated it's pretty comprehensive, about $1.96 million. So that means a 10% match is going to be about $200,000. And so the commission is looking at how that might be funded, and looking at, and I'll talk about that in a minute, various shares from the different governments that are members and some other potential sources as well. One of the things that's wheels have turned a little bit slowly on this, and I wanted to address it because it came up at one of the other presentations I gave, was we were pretty much done with step 1 a year ago, and then we're finally getting to the end of getting FRA to approve it now, because near the end of last year they said, you know what, we're going to change some of that criteria. Some of that came because you might know we had a new administration, and they really rethought a few things. They had some staff cuts, but one of the things that's happened really recently, I'm going to go to the next slide, and that is Secretary Duffy, who used to represent this area in Congress, announced some major investments in New York just recently. And if you can't read this quote, he did say that the administration is focused on improving passenger rail to help American families connect to jobs, education, and medical appointments, as well as fast-tracking the movement of commerce. And so the administration is telling us they're going to keep these programs going. And the next slide is from the Federal Rail Administrator saying, we want to speed things up too. I think that one's that one. I think you can go back one slide. This one, yeah, that one. We can keep moving. he said it shouldn't take years or decades to advance rail projects. So if we can keep this moving, maybe we can call them on that and make sure they keep the ball rolling. So that just brings us quickly then to where we are on this. John Johnson, the county administrator for Eau Claire County, who's our administrative agent. Mark, I think you've probably given this to the board at some point, or it's something you'll consider later. Has suggested an intergovernmental cooperative agreement to put that funding together and move forward with a study. And then on the next slide, he made some suggestions of the counties, each putting in $37,000 over 2 years, and each municipality putting in $15,000 over 2 years. The way these studies work and the way the federal funding works is Eau Claire County would expend the funds, and then as it goes, so it would take you 2 years to actually spend it, then you get reimbursed from the FRA. So the next slide, just a few things, and the board members I know have a handout that summarizes some of these things. So why should Baldwin consider a $15,000 share? Because it does unlock that 90% federally funded. It answers those questions. We need to know if it's feasible. It is a necessary step to keep it rolling and to get those future benefits, a one-time opportunity. It would provide us with some economic and quality of life advantages, takes advantage of some innovations that are in our proposal, and it is worth noting that if the village does move forward with this, there's no further obligations unless you acted on them and they came up in the future. So I did want to give you a quick vision of really what we're thinking about, what this would be like. So you can go to the next slide and we'll move through those real quick. So when service starts, we anticipate we would have smooth upgraded tracks. The Union Pacific has already put in the signal system and has a high quality track, so we think the improvements would be minimal. You have roomy seating, large windows, you have power for your computers, have a snack, productive time because you can do anything you want when you're on the train, and then we'd be an opportunity to bring travelers from the cities to visit our tourist things. So I've got a couple pictures that help you visualize it. You can go to the next one. So instead of having traffic or winter or being too tired, you'd be able to sit back and enjoy your trip. Next one, students would be able to get to and from, or if you have a student somewhere that's going somewhere. Next one, families would be able to travel by train and not have to be buckled in and still be safe. Next one, we'd be able to bring tourists out here with some of the amenities that we have in our communities. And then finally, a thing worth mentioning is the next one, and that is in California, where they have a substantial number of passenger trains, believe it or not. In a lot of places where communities are not right on the line, they have a bus shuttle that has through ticketing. And so, for instance, for River Falls, for New Richmond, for Chippewa Falls, places like that, we'd be able to set that up and make it more convenient for people. So the next slide just has my contact information, and I'd be happy to answer any questions as a follow-up and get in touch with me. So I don't know how much time you have available, but I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have time.
Where would you put the stop in Baldwin?
I have a flippant answer that I always say, by the tracks. I have driven up there, and it looks like, you know, around 6 would be a good place if there's some room there. You have, what is it, Creamery Park?
Who pays for that?
That would be one of the things that we figure out. A lot of communities will put investment in that, but they'll do development around it, and the development will be part of it. So there's a concept called value capture, where you use the revenue that comes from the activity around the station to maintain the services there. So it would be something that would have to be figured out. Those are some of the things that you look at. It probably wouldn't take a major station here with lots and lots of amenities.
Scott, the 7% investment, $15,000 for the village is over 2 years, not per year.
It would be however you choose to do it, but it wouldn't be needed for over 2 years, because the way it works with these kinds of studies is the consultant, there'll be a consultant who's an expert in this will be hired to do it. As they get work done and they build a county then gets reimbursement from the other participants, and then so it would take 2 years to spend all the money. I believe Dunn County has already put theirs in, and they decided to put it in next year's budget. their next year's capital budget, just to make sure they already have it.
Awesome. When was the last time you heard anything on this? Were you our chairman with
Yeah,
Baldwin, or?
I was thinking that was late 20 then. It was, I know there was a lot of Zoom meetings way back when, but I've seen some email updates and stuff, but I know a lot of it was waiting on the funding for any updates. Budgets, right around the corner.
I guess it's worth mentioning that we understand this qualifies as a capital expense too. But I think Eau Claire is thinking about actually, they have a TID they're creating already around the depot site, and they're gonna use the TID for theirs. But however, it makes sense for you.
Yeah, before if people used it. That's the big thing, is are they gonna use it?
Well, and that's the opportunity with the study, so that you can look at ridership. And the evidence we've seen is wherever there's convenience service, it's auto competitive, ridership has been there.
Another question, Scott, is Unity River Falls keeps getting brought up as an access point, but how is it an access point when they're nowhere near?
That would be that shuttle. So,
Oh, okay, shuttle
So there
from,
would be a shuttle that would meet all the trains at
To the passengers.
Hudson and go to River Falls.
got it.
And Beth Schomer there has been very active in the commission, and they've been very much on board with wanting to see this happen. Right now, I don't believe there's any public transportation that will take you to River Falls.
No,
And,
there is not.
and so, for instance, they have a high percentage of students from Minnesota, so it's not easy to get there. And the other universities like Stouders, I spoke at a meeting in Milwaukee last week, just sort of about the big picture, and a woman and her son came up and said, you know, he would really like to go to UW Claire, but it's so hard to get there from Milwaukee unless you drive. So that's a factor in kind of deciding where to go to school.
Those cut money out of your budget.
$1,000 a year.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's worthwhile to, you know, be part of the study, you know. It's $7,500 a year.
Right.
Hopefully we don't hear, I mean, obviously the funding was a big thing, right? Because, yeah, it was 2020, 2021 when Ross was part of that, and I'm like, where'd that go? He goes, haven't heard a word. I suppose money issues, so.
One of the holdup, not to belabor the point, but if we go way back to the 90s, when Governor Thompson was governor, this upper Midwest states wanted to move forward with something, there was no federal funding. So now the federal funding is there, and the program's there, and so it does put it on a similar playing field as other modes, and makes any local funds expended leverage.
So when, if we do jump on board, when do you start at 27 for the monies?
At some point, Eau Claire County will have to certify with FRA that there'll be a formal application, although it's not a competitive application, saying we're ready to get in the program, and they're going out some confidence that they've assembled enough money to do it. So this year, and that's why we're talking to local governments this summer, so that as you're thinking about your budgets, you can make that decision. And so if that's known this year, then we can go forward with the study next year and get it rolling.
Oh, we'll know by October. Budget committee, can we find $7,500 this year?
So,
I'm sure we can.
you know that, so.
We'll talk about it more next month.
Yeah.
Include it in the budget.
Thanks for timing it correctly, like, prior to budget.
Yeah, don't come in October. Well, we really need it by January,
Yeah.
so. No, I don't have any more questions unless somebody else does.
Thank you, Scott.
I appreciate your time, and
Thanks a lot.
I'm not gonna stick around, I have to drive.
No, that's fine. You're not obligated to stay. B, Windmill Days Committee, discuss a three-phase approach of collaborative investment in Creamy Park improvements.
I'm actually excited to follow it after you said that. So thanks for taking the time to hear our proposal. You can take a really big, deep breath. Tonight's not about asking you to approve of the building or provide funding. It's about asking you to partner with Windmill Days and building a long-term vision for Creamery Park. Windmill Days has believed that Our responsibility goes beyond our festival. Since our organization began, we believed in reinvesting in Baldwin, leaving our community stronger than we found it. The proposal is simply the next step in that commitment. As Windmill Days has grown, we've experienced firsthand limitations of our current infrastructure. Each year, we spend significant time and resources addressing temporary electrical needs, lighting, operational space, and setup challenges. We believe these issues are not just Windmill Days issues. They're park infrastructure issues that affect anyone who wants to use Creamery Park. Rather than continue to find temporary solutions every year, we firmly believe it's time to begin planning permanent improvements that benefit our entire community. One thing I'd like to emphasize in this proposal is that it's intentionally designed in phases, and each phase only moves forward if funding becomes available. And we are not proposing that the village commit to building a pavilion all at once. Instead, every phase is tied to our ability to secure funding through grants, sponsorships, fundraising, donations, and other partnerships. I also want to address what is the biggest question on everyone's mind is financial responsibility. The proposal is intentionally structured so that each phase stands on its own. We only move into the next phase when funding for that phase has been identified and secured. In other words, we're not asking the village to commit to an entire project today, we're asking you to partner with us in a process. As funding becomes available through these grants and other donations and partnerships, we complete the next phase. If funding isn't available yet, we simply don't move forward until it is. We believe that's the most responsible way to approach a project of this size because this allows us to grow at a pace our funding supports while protecting both the Windmill Days and village from unnecessary financial risk. I think it's important to recognize that Windmill Days has demonstrated both the ability to raise funds and the discipline to manage them responsibly. Our example is the Senex Hometown Grant. We successfully secured those funds, and we've continued to protect those dollars, specifically for future improvements, rather than spending them on short-term needs. Years ago, when Windmill Days had fewer resources than we have today, we also invested approximately $2,000 in electrical improvements within Creamery Park because we recognize the importance of improving that infrastructure. These improvements reflect who we are as an organization. We don't simply spend money, we plan, we save, we protect funds, and we invest with the future in mind. We're not starting from scratch. Windmill Days has already been invited to begin applying for grant opportunities. A lot of these grants, you have to wait for someone to reach out to you, and we have actually gotten offers to apply for grants. And we started researching funding sources that align with projects like this. That's one of the reasons that we're here now. Many grants require planning, municipal partnership, and long-term vision before an application can be submitted. Waiting until we're ready to build will likely mean we miss funding opportunities. Beginning the planning process now allows us to pursue those opportunities as they become available. Although Windmill Days would be the primary operator during the festival, this facility is not intended to belong to Windmill Days. It's intended to serve Baldwin. Throughout the year, it can host community events, weddings, fundraisers, markets, live music, educational programs, youth activities, and potentially emergency response functions, depending on our final design. The more ways the pavilion serves the public, the more it creates for our community and the more funding opportunities that become available. Tonight, again, we're not asking you for approval to build a pavilion. We're asking you for partnership. We're asking for you to support to begin planning together, to evaluate the infrastructure, to pursue grants, to continue developing community partnerships, but mostly create a long-term roadmap that moves us forward. Windmill Days has always believed that success isn't measured by the number of people who attend our festival. It's without a doubt measured by what we leave behind for the community. Windmill Days have just demonstrated that we're willing to invest in Baldwin. We've demonstrated that we can manage funds responsibly, and we've demonstrated that we can build partnerships. Windmill Days has already begun laying the groundwork by identifying grants. Now we're asking the village to join us, not in funding a building, but in building a vision for Baldwin's tomorrow. Windmill Days believes that this is the best way that we can continue working together. We can create something that serves more than just Windmill Days, but generations of residents, businesses, and visitors.
It's very good.
Thank you. Good job.
Support do that. We do need to look at something in Creamery Park, like a pavilion.
I like the image.
That's
If
just
you start
that's our dream.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like.
I'm sure it needs to be modified, and like, there's things that you can do in different grants you can look at if you
Yeah.
can make it an emergency shelter, you get different grants and different opportunities for that.
Now, if we start talking about this, there's gonna be one person in this village that wants on board.
I know his name.
You know his name?
Yeah, I do.
What's his name?
Really?
Yes, he did tell me that the other, I
Yeah,
don't know, about 3 weeks ago we talked about it, and he said if there's something cooking, he goes, I want on board.
yeah, he's talked to us
So-
for a long time, yeah.
So you gotta let Willie in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is just our vision, I mean, that we thought can serve a lot, but there's, you know, always, this is just a thought. It's not a permanent, it's not a,
So in order to move with like move forward with grant applications or seeing your vision come to fruition, how can the board help, or what do you need from us?
well, some of the things ask, you know, do we have a space and is it okay? Well, obviously, it's owned by the village, you know, so in order to apply for some of those, we need to know that, you know, there's gonna be a place to house this and have, you know, I don't know if they'll require a letter from the board stating that they're willing to do this, but some of those places, in regards to what we're doing, do request those things from the village, because it's not our property.
So who would be the grant writer?
We have a few people that have reached out to us about being able to help write grants, so,
Do we do an initial site plan? With this, with the way that area is, do we do it like at least a general site plan?
You usually for grant money, need to have some kind of site plan.
Right, we'd have to do at least a general.
I wonder if, because we did a parks master plan a while back.
Where, 21 maybe? It was before COVID.
Or that, but I wonder if that's, I don't remember what we had, if we had a building shown, in that plan.
I think it was squares,
Yes,
squares over the parks,
Like pop-up
different,
areas.
yeah, different things to do, and now that you say that, I remember seeing it.
yeah, I'll look in that, but that might be a good,
yeah.
that's a comprehensive recreation outdoor
I know
plan.
we did see that.
Yeah. And that's a good resource planning document, and it's in there showing that, you know, it is the village's intent to do something.
That would be slick if we already have something on hand that you can share with the committee.
Yeah.
That might help you get started and.
And one of the grants that we were just offered doesn't require any of that, it's just asking for money, and I wanna present it as this, but I don't really wanna present it as this if we don't have permission from the village.
Right.
That could be.
Well, won't Nicole have something for that comp plan?
She might, there might be some verbiage in there about a possible shelter in the park there. It's a broad, you know, kind of plan, so it's not gonna be real specific, but that could be helpful with
Yeah,
funding applications.
Right, Mark? I mean, you went to
Well,
all the comp
that's
plan
not-
meetings.
That's not finalized yet, so we. can-
No, I know, but it was talked about in all those meetings, right?
Yeah.
She-
Mark for it.
Yeah, Amy was there
So
too.
we can go back to that area and add something in there quick if we have
Good,
to.
if it's not
If it's not there.
Baldwin Rock Fest.
right.
I'm just kidding.
Thursday
Oh,
nights.
we don't need that. Big and small.
So right now, we figured like phases are easier and, you know, more manageable as funds are coming and,
Yeah.
and then as we get closer to a build phase, you just get more people involved and, you know, really do what the community as a whole needs. I mean, yes, Windmill Day is important to us, but Windmill Day is, I mean, Baldwin is way more important to us as a whole.
Well, then everybody can use it, you know.
Yes. And our envision is for year round, you know, there's not a lot of facilities that can be used year round and we definitely need that. And I
Well,
have
it's
a
not
grant
like-
due in 30 days.
We have what?
We have a request to do a grant within 30 days, so.
Oh, just press us.
Okay, yeah.
Let's just get right on it tomorrow morning, I
I
guess.
know, I'm just saying like, good partnership. Otherwise I'll ask you for something else.
Well, and, I mean, so what you're asking for is consideration
Yes.
of this, you're not, we don't have something specific to ask for at this
No.
point, but it's just
Getting
consideration.
support and.
Yeah.
And then we can start working towards this, and then we can start, you know, getting some funding to make this dream become a vision.
Yeah.
And just about every plan we've ever talked about or the parks, there's always been future outlook for a building.
Yeah.
even since the day that we took that park on, really wanted a pavilion there.
Just remember, don't dig in the ground. Everybody knows it.
Guacamole.
Yeah, I think the consensus with the board is, yeah.
Yeah. No, do you need an official?
Not for this specific grant at this time that we've been requested
Right,
for.
okay.
It's just a good sum of money, and I didn't want to put something in there that would not be true, that, you know, the village is not being hired.
So are you happy with the consensus, or do you
Yes,
want an
I'm good with
official?
that.
Okay.
If I need something more, I'll come back to another board, but for this one, it didn't require that, but I, in good faith, did not want to ask for something that we couldn't prove to be true.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank
you
you.
give us the 2026 windmill days update then?
Yeah, I'm back. I did. All right, well, we're excited to come back as we do every year to, we have an incredible windmill days, and we want to just celebrate what we've done and share what we're up to next. So you can, we have a little agenda there, you can go to the next one. So this is kind of what we're going to go over. We'll try and be quicker about it, and I probably wrote notes about. So the next one, Luby was a great sponsor for us, but everything we do is one simple idea, building Baldwin together. Every decision we make is guided by one question: how does this benefit our community? Whether it's creating family experiences, supporting local businesses, attracting investors, or investing in community projects, our goal is always the same: to leave Baldwin better than we found it. So on the next slide, you'll see that our mission remains the same. How do we strengthen Baldwin? We're committed to putting Baldwin first by building strong partnerships, investing back into our community, and creating an experience that welcomes everyone. We continue to grow responsibly, and our goal is not to simply host a successful fun festival. It's also to build Baldwin again stronger, more connected, and positioned for the future. So Windmills Day's vision is kind of on the next page, that together we're creating successful events, we're strengthening relationships, investing in our community, and building a future. When Baldwin succeeds, we all succeed. So then if we go to, we can, here's our little conference here. This is our recap of 2026. So we have a few pictures in there on the next slide. 2026 wasn't just a celebration. It was a celebration of community, connection, and success. Together we welcomed thousands of visitors, strengthened partnerships, created lasting memories. This shows the corn pit, which was hugely, wildly successful. We've had requests for that to come back. The next slide shows that some data, and it might be a little bit tough to read, but we welcome record participation at Family Night on Friday night. We introduced new attractions, we expanded our marketing reach, and we strengthened partnerships through our community. Each of those successes is important on its own, but together they tell a much bigger story about Windmill Days, and the story is that Windmill Days continues to grow because community continues to believe in it. Our volunteers, our sponsors, our local businesses and community organizations, village staff, public safety, and so many others played an important role. And of course, their support transforms our festival into something so much bigger. It's a community tradition that brings people together, and it creates lasting memories. So, while we celebrate, you know, we get 5 days roughly out of the year, but that's not all Windmill Days does. We have 360 more days of the year that we continue to give back and support organizations throughout Baldwin. So the fun part, talking about financials that we talk about with you guys every year. So on the next slide, you'll notice that, I'll say, one of the things I'm most proud of is that every dollar entrusted to Windmill Days has a purpose. We begin by giving back. We don't just ask our community to support us, we invest back. We donate to the youth groups and organizations that help at our festival where possible, such as our wrestlers and our cheerleaders, and throughout the year, we provide scholarships, donations, financial support to local organizations. In fact, we reinvest about 10% of our budget back to the community, and we're committed to growing that impact that we do have. Marketing for us isn't just an expense. We did increase our marketing this year to about $13,000, and we did gain about 1,300 additional festival goers. So that equates to about estimated $10 of marketing investment for each additional person that attended. And that's making it a pretty conservative return. The true value, however, stands beyond the attendance because each additional visitor represents an opportunity for them to dine at our restaurants, shop at our businesses, purchase fuel, visit vendors, experience everything Baldwin has to offer. As a volunteer nonprofit, we like to keep our operating costs pretty low. We're pretty fiscally responsible about it, and we work hard to ensure that the dollar that we use goes far. Our total operating expenses were $9,401. Of that, 68% covered essential infrastructure like tents, portable restrooms, all of that stuff. That could be helped with the pavilion. And then with insurance included, 83% that was is of that number. So between our insurance and our infrastructure, our operating costs is 83%. So that tells you just how fiscally we keep our operating costs low. We are not just built about admission gates or ticket sales. Of course, with the assistance of our generosity of sponsors, we invested approximately $37,000 into free events and entertainments. Not only does the free events bring our community together, it encourages visitors to spend more time in Baldwin, give people a reason to return year after year. It's a great marketing avenue. Those visitors don't just attend the festival, they support everything in our community. It's our hope and intention that when we look at the financials, you don't just see our expenses, you see the investment in our volunteers, our youth, our business, our visitors, and ultimately the future of our community. Now is where Melissa comes in because she knows more about this than I, but we're going to talk about our social media report, and she's less winded than I am.
So you know that I love the numbers, but the numbers speak for themselves. I think it's in your packet. So the numbers we're going to go over are from June 3rd to the 30th. It shows that our digital footprint experienced substantial growth across all primary metrics, with significant increase in non-follower reach and overall content interactions. So those total views increased by 43.6%, while total content interactions grew by 32.3%. Oh, next slide, sorry. And then 4 of the 5 top social media reports are there. I'm not going to go over all those numbers. I do want to point out a thank you to the village board for partnering with us through those fireworks funds of the sale of possession permits. You can see that we've had over 32,000 views, over 18,000 reaches, over 18,000 unique viewers, and 121 interactions. The next one I want to point out is the corn pit, which she said was I'm still on the same slide, sorry. Which was a huge hit, thanks to United Fire and Rescue to keep those kids shaded, and St. Clair County Farm Bureau for that corn pit. Our takeaway from this was our highest engagement, which means we captured real immediate community engagement during our festival. Two Hype Crew, we did a reel, that band from Chicago on Saturday evening, sits in the middle of our data. It proves to us that short form videos serve as an excellent way to capture viewer retention and reaction rates. And then that last one there, Thursday's reaction, the views are double, which means unique viewers opened the post at least twice. So they wanted to know all about Thursday, I guess. And then the takeaways from this, all the 4 of those, is that those non-followers, with that 65.4%, come from non-followers. So our content is breaking out of our local area, which actually promotes our village of Baldwin to the broader region. And so the massive 50.8 increase in page visits suggests that users aren't just scrolling, they're stopping and reading. So the next slide talks about Beyond Baldwin, which we know and love that Baldwin's our top audience. We're leveraging 3 core pillars there that you can see that we're going to do some marketing and outreach strategies to gain more people within those regions. Next slide talks about our demographics. Of course, we remain a female-dominant platform. While we're aware a lot of men and students 18 to 30 years old aren't on social media. There's nothing we can do about that, but how do we attract different activities and attractions to those that are on the platform to make them lifelong followers. And then the next slide should be benchmarking, which is a tool on Facebook that compares our page to other like pages. And you can see we're above the 50 percentile. My goal is 75 and beyond. But 60, I'll do a 60%. You can see that we're lower on the followers, a little higher on follows, and then content interaction is somewhat decent. And then that next slide for me talks about the June 2026 totals and compared to that month-to-month growth trend. So Facebook visits saw the most explosive rate at that 50.8, indicating massive wave of users taking the intentional step to visit our main page, like I said. Total views at 43.6 outpaced that unique viewers at 27.9%. You pair that with an insight of 65.4% of views come from our non-followers, as I mentioned, and it means our content is being heavily pushed by the algorithm to new audiences, and they're sticking around. And while the 18% on that graph increases in net follows is great, it's slower than our views and interactions, so our next focus is how do you turn those interaction non-followers into followers. So that's my part.
On the next slide, we just talk about our website. Our overall website has become much more than an event. It's a gateway to Baldwin. With 98% performance score and nearly 20,000 visits over the past year. It also helps both residents and visitors while ranking in the top 50% of fair and festival websites. Let's see, yeah, like in the last 30 days, not even event-wise, we've had 3,000 plus, and the numbers they do well on our website, so. On the next slide, you'll see places that Windmill Days is found at. One of particular note is Windmill Days has gone now, it's gone statewide. It's a milestone that expands our reach, it strengthens our brand, and creates new opportunities. We're most excited to share that Windmill Days has been officially accepted into the Something Special from Wisconsin program. It's much more than a membership, it's a statewide recognition that aligns Windmill Days with one of Wisconsin's most respected programs, celebrating business, organizations, products, and experience authentic to Wisconsin. This partnership gives us visibility, it gives vendors access to us, different people looking to sell their products, it puts Baldwin on the map. It essentially strengthens our credibility as we are branding a Wisconsin-based celebration next year, and it opens the door to new partnerships. So we're really, really excited about that, and now that we've been accepted, we get to brand the Something Special from Wisconsin on everything that we do. Next is the placer reports. Simply clicking people as they walk by or relying on rough estimates doesn't provide an accurate picture of the true impact of Windmill Days. As an organization, we're committed to making informed decisions. We believe our community deserves better than guesswork. That's why, once again, we invested in the professional data and research, and these reports provide reliable insights into who's attending our festival, where their visitors are coming from, the demographic trends, and how the festival benefits businesses in our community. So on the next slide, you'll see that the growth of our Windmill Days in the past several years tells a remarkable story. Perhaps the strongest measure of our success. What began with literally nothing has grown into Baldwin's premier event. We continue to attract visitors from Wisconsin, Minnesota, and beyond. Since 2023, Windmill Days has grown from 9,500 visits to a record-breaking 12,300 visits in 2026. It's nearly an increase of 30% in just 3 years. While 2025 saw a slight adjustment following an exceptional 2024, attendance has remained well above our 2023 baseline. Just as importantly, unique visitors increased by more than 25%, demonstrating that we're reaching new audience, not simply welcoming people back each year. In fact, 2026 again brought 1,300 additional visits. The numbers tell a powerful story, and Windmill Days isn't just hosting a successful festival. We're creating a destination. We're strengthening our local economy, and we're building tradition. On the next slide, this is just showing that we understand that isn't measured just by people. It's a really hard thing to show because it shows like where all of the people that go to our event go to before and after. So it's saying that people aren't, you know, just going to windmill days and going home. They're stopping at other places, they're visiting other places, they're going to businesses. This is all great news for Baldwin. On the next slide, I really, really love it because it tells you where people are coming from, and consistent throughout the past 3 years, Windmill Days has continued to engage residents while in the Baldwin-Woodville area, but we've gone far beyond that now. If you notice on there, we have some people from, we have a lot from Minnesota, we have some Rhode Islands, we have some Oklahoma ones. They're traveling more than 50 miles to attend our event. We made strategic investments targeting certain targeting marketing efforts, and all of these analytics say that we are doing exactly what we set out to do, is put Baldwin on the map and build our town better. We were hoping to get hotel data, but Sally didn't get back to me, but when I do get that, I would love to pass that on to the board if you would like, because we know that we did put in quite a few people ourselves into the hotel, so we would love to share that data once we get it to you. The next page is also a fun little report. It's a blurb of all the feedback that we've gotten about Windmill Days. And at the end of the day, that's our greatest measure of success for us, volunteers on Windmill Days. There are just a few, one story that especially stuck out to me is I met a girl from Oklahoma, and she specifically told me that she comes back to Baldwin each year just for Windmill Days. And I thought that was crazy yet amazing. And if you just think about it for a moment, someone traveling across multiple states just to come here to our festival, to our little town. That's the kind of impact that we strive to make. And if we can create an event that brings people home, introduces new visitors to Baldwin, and leaves them coming back year after year, we're doing more than we ever thought we could possibly do. And on the next page is another one, and I just have to share this story because we received this. It's the email that was received. It was from a physician who travels here from Minnetonka, which is over an hour away from here, and she shared that despite living in a much larger city, countless events to choose from, she never experienced anything quite like Windmill Days. She talked about the warmth of our community, the variety of activities, the way people genuinely enjoy spending time together. She even bought a raffle ticket and ended up winning. To me, that's what makes Windmill Days so special. We're not trying to compete with the biggest festivals. We're creating something that they can't, a place where people feel welcome. Those experiences don't just create happy visitors, they create true ambassadors. They return year after year. They bring their families, their friends, they tell others about our community. That kind of reputation can't be built in a single visit. Our multi-day festival gives people time to experience Baldwin. We create a greater impact to our businesses and our community. Statistics tell us how many people came. Stories like this tell us why they keep coming back. So what's next for Baldwin? Or Windmill Days and Baldwin. It's the next slide. You can actually go to. That was Bucky having a great time. So the next slide, we are just, you know, we've reviewed 2026, and now we're looking to create more opportunities for our community to celebrate, connect, and share traditions. So on the next page, I'm sure most of you all have seen it, but this is our theme for next year. It's celebrating all things Wisconsin. We are so excited to do this, and as you can see, part of our little fun fact on there is that people are excited about this event. Just by us announcing this on Facebook, we've reached more than 9,400 people, generated 17,000 views, and sparked 138 reactions. So we're really excited. We have things that you probably don't expect to see in this small town around this thing, and you'll see some of the things that you still love about it. And the next slide is just that we'll be saving some surprises, we'll be doing some things, but mark your calendars, June 9th through the 13th, and get your oak in practice for the festival. And our final thing is we want to extend our sincere appreciation to the Baldwin Village Board for your continued leadership, your commitment, and unwavering support to our community. Your willingness to make decisions, invest in Baldwin's future, and support organizations that enrich our community is the foundation for continued growth and opportunity. We recognize that public service requires difficult decisions, countless hours, and a steadfast commitment to the community and doing what's best in the best interest of our community. We do not take for granted the challenges, the scrutiny, and the obstacles that accompany public service, and we appreciate your continued dedication to serving Baldwin. Windmill Days is proud to work alongside you, the village board, with integrity, honesty, and mutual respect. We value open communication. We value the collaboration with the village staff, the police department, fire and EMS, and public works, and our shared commitment to serving Baldwin with professionalism, accountability, and respect. As we look forward to 2027, we do remain committed to strengthening this partnership, continuing to move Baldwin forward through positive and responsible leadership. So thank you.
Thanks, Angie. Police Department Building Renovation Project update, Golden Associates.
There isn't really enough.
No, I was gonna say, their
Grass is growing.
grass is growing,
Landscaping got
they
finished.
still haven't matched the paint, so I'm still gonna repaint everything. The air conditioning unit is probably working overtime. We talked about it last month, so.
We don't talk about it no more.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Kevin, you got anything for the, it's,
Basically just the landscaping that they're talking about on this, and
yeah.
so there's not much. Air conditioner's working fine.
Should we have one?
Police department looking for a place
Can't do that. All right, discuss and approve pay request 10. It's in front of the-
Motion to approve pay request 10. I just skipped past. $15,655.05.
Pay request. Can you make a motion to approve? Oh, I got it right here, I clicked on it, I clicked on it 1%. Not like, that's not 15. You got a motion? We have a second? Who was the second? Me. Oh, didn't hear you over there. Motion second. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 2026 street project, discuss and approve pay request 1 for Stout Construction for $117,282. Mitch Nichols.
How's it going?
Good, man, how are you?
Good. Figured I'd give a general project overview beforehand or update. Stout has 2 crews in town right now. Main pipe crew is still in the area south of Main Street, Maple and 8th. They've got water and sanitary main installed on Maple, part of the way up 8th as well. They should begin doing services on Maple this week. They got safe sample on water. And then the second crew is down on Meadow Lane. They're doing the storm work, the outfall, and they'll start doing the drain tile work and rip up that. Once the first crew's done with their services on Maple, that crew's gonna flop and start building road on Maple. Their plan is to get concrete and asphalt on that as soon as possible as they move on to other phases, and then they'll probably go pick up Meadow Lane again, so. They're a couple weeks behind their initial schedule. They're there working every day they can, and they're asking to work Saturdays right now, when the village employees are available for shut-offs and whatnot, so trying to work with them on that as well.
Trying to catch up.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll start out a little.
slow. Yeah.
Don't quote that in the paper now.
It's a newer
Somebody said
crew.
it was slow. They had
It's a
big
newer
overs.
crew, but they're doing a good job. They're doing good work.
A little bit better than 5 years ago with Stout?
I would say so,
Okay,
yes. We've had them on a few projects and they've been doing good work, so.
Well, it's still early yet, so if they're already requesting Saturdays, I mean, they did work all days last Saturday.
Not Fourth of July.
No, I guess it was the Saturday before that. I guess.
So
You're
this
correct.
pay request was just for underground work they completed, some removals, partial of the temp water setup for that area, all pretty straightforward. No questions on our end, so it's just recommended for approval.
No surprises in the ground?
Actually, the dirt looks really good.
Really?
Maple and 8th, probably the nicest I've seen in Baldwin.
The blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, I guess.
So that was one plus side.
How
make a motion to approve their request for cell construction for $117,282.
I think that amount's actually wrong.
Wait.
The application says 117,872 and 91 cents.
That's the one. Although I like the other one better.
Was there a second on that?
I'll second
For the 872, not the 282?
it.
What's that number? Mark?
I wasn't gonna say.
Motion second for the pay request. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? E, VW Chamber, Chili Fest update.
Well, you have a letter in your packet about the VW Chamber is gonna move Chili Fest to Woodville. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory in the letter. So that was kind of the update I want to provide. Everybody's probably seen that. The other item is going to be they're requesting street closure approval, street closure request, approval of street closure request for Main Street trick or treat in the horse parade. So,
Why is Chili Fest moving to Woodville? I thought that was quite the celebration in Baldwin.
It was a decision that I did not make.
Who made it?
I'm assuming the chamber did.
It
And
reads
their
the
board.
chamber board voted to relocate the 2026 Chili Fest from the village of Baldwin.
And what was the reason is what I'm asking. Or doesn't anybody want to say anything?
Well, what do you want to do?
I just
We
wondered
could not come to an agreement.
about what?
We wanted them to sign a contract to not sue us.
Why
because
would they possibly sign a contract like that?
Because that's a normal operating procedure. Hold on, hold on a second here.
Okay.
Because there's tourism dollars that they're requesting also.
Yep.
Well, they have threatened litigation with us in numerous tourism committee meetings. And also, if we're giving public funds, we want to be able to audit it, see where the money goes.
Yeah,
That's normal procedure.
yeah.
And they refuse to sign the contract.
Well, I wouldn't sign a contract that says I can't sue anybody. That's stupid.
So if you're.
That's taking away a basic right.
Trick, I think is, I don't think you understand what's going on here. So I'm gonna try to explain this to you, okay? So the chamber requested tourism funds and to be the tourism partner, and applied to be the tourism partner with the village of Baldwin. And the tourism committee selected the chamber to partner with as the official tourism entity, provided that they sign a contract. And that contract is standard practice in every community with every tourism entity.
That you can't sue?
And, may I stop?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's standard practice in every community that there's a contract between the tourism entity and the board. That's not unusual, and we are not picking on the chamber for that. That's standard practice, that's one. The contents of that contract were actually copied from another community. And yes, release of claims is standard practice, especially when they bring forward a lawyer and threaten to sue the village repeatedly. An agreement to work together and a release of claims from both sides is standard practice, yes.
So the
And they
vil-
don't have to sign the contract.
So the village board can't sit down with the Chamber of Commerce and discuss things and come to an agreement of some kind without?
Yep, we have. And that's what that contract.
Then why are they going to Woodville?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why they're not signing the contract. I've not seen, a negotiation back to us. I've heard that they're gonna counter our contract, which is standard negotiations. We're not offended by that.
This isn't standard nothing. This is BS.
Well, I feel the same way. Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it should be fast as possible.
That's not what the board wants. It's not what the tourism committee wants.
This is all about money. Bottom line. Tourist money.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's all I want. That's all I got.
Christine, I have one question.
Good luck in Woodville.
In the tourism commission meeting, did you talk with the chamber, or was that with the attorney that they brought that you had talked to?
Both. Yeah. We spoke to their attorney directly. In fact, the chamber members didn't actually talk to us. In the first meeting, it was primarily through their attorney. At the second meeting, we spoke directly to the chamber members and the attorney.
Okay.
So money is the separating issue.
Money and there.
Yeah. I don't know what their objection
And
is.
over-
So I don't know what their objection
over
is
the
to the
money-
contract.
Baldwin is willing to let the Chili Fest go to Woodville.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's a Baldwin area, Baldwin, Woodville area.
I
Chamber of
understand
Commerce.
that, but it's 20 years, this is the 21st year, 20 years it's been in Baldwin. And all of a sudden this year it's not.
It's been the Baldwin Chamber.
So we, the village offered money to the chamber.
Yeah.
We offered them money.
I still wouldn't sign a contract because I can't sue anybody. That's stupid.
So then you don't get the, then you don't get the money then.
That's how public funding works. You can't- That's how public funding works.
So if I don't sign it, you won't open the streets, or you won't close the streets.
Yeah,
That's the way it is?
we cannot take on risks in the village to provide public services of our police department.
When we've been
At risk
threatened,
that they're
we've been
gonna
threatened
sue
already.
us.
What,
What are they gonna-
what did you do for 20 years?
What are you talking about?
You said you can't take on the risk. What did you do for 20 years?
Not get threatened with litigation?
What's the litigation for though?
Did we get threatened with litigation?
Yeah, we did.
What is the litigation for? It's for the tourism money.
Yeah, which we offered them to us. But I don't know what their objection is to the current contract. You would have to ask.
You can't. It's an easy objection if you take away your right to sue. That's,
Do you know?
We're trying to protect the village of
I don't
Baldwin
think
also
they've
from
told
not being
anybody
sued.
what their objection is to the contract.
that's why if you guys can't sit down with the Chamber of Commerce,
Sherry is here. What
And
is the
discuss
objection to the
things.
contract?
The board will be reviewing the contract tomorrow morning. The village had a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce that I was not present at. I don't remember the date, like around the 17th of June, in which the Tourism Commission and the Chamber met. The Chamber didn't get an opportunity to speak. The contract was provided to our attorney 2 days prior, so they hadn't even seen it at the time of the commission meeting. So they took the meeting back, or took the contract back to review it. At the time of the June meeting for the board, the lands tabled all requests for street closures until a contract is agreed upon. There is not another date set, to my awareness, of the Tourism Commission to review that. Our board meeting is tomorrow morning, and with our deadlines approaching, we are well under our 90 days. We need to secure a location, and without those street closures in Baldwin and the approval for that, we have to move forward with another option, so we'll be meeting with the village of Woodville.
this may be the silliest thing I've ever heard.
So the tourism, last tourism meeting, actually the contract was sent in advance. Your lawyer did not provide it to the chamber, which
And
that was
received it
found
on
out
Monday
during
the
the.
15th.
So you're telling me the village board and the Chamber of Commerce are at each other's throats?
Yeah, no.
That's what it sounds like.
No, we have no issue with the chamber.
Well, you can't, you're out from a contract that they can't sign.
Why can't they sign
Why
it?
would they not be able to?
Why would you give up your right to sue?
Why would we want to let them sue the village?
That's not the point. You
Yes,
can't
it
give
is.
up, no, you can't give up the right.
It's protecting the village, Paul.
So if the village can't sit down with the Chamber of Commerce and discuss things,
Trust me, there have been numerous
obviously, it hasn't been good enough. And you're really,
We don't even have a counter proposal back from them. And the last meeting, they were presented the contract and we openly talked about it. They read it together with us. We asked if they had any questions. Gary, you weren't even there. I don't know why you're saying they weren't given an opportunity to talk.
They said they didn't, my board members said they didn't speak.
I
during
sat out
the
there and
meeting.
chit-chatted with Mary Lou out on the sidewalk about yoga class, for Pete's sake.
Well, then that
She was
would be
inviting me to go to
outside of-
yoga class. There
that
were
would be
really,
outside
literally
of
no
the
hard
board
feelings.
meeting.
She said she was excited to bring that contract forward and have it signed. So, I mean,
Yes.
you guys are all over
Yes,
the place
Dave.
on this.
well, what do all the businesses feel about this? They gotta be pissed.
Yeah, I've talked to numerous business owners that are not happy with the change.
I would imagine so.
And the board is blaming the chamber, and the chamber is blaming the board.
Yes,
You
that's what
can't
we
get
get.
together and make it, we're all mature people here, why can't we do that?
That's a great question.
I'm with you. You're great.
Danielle,
So
Well,
something's that,
the
Hold
part
on.
that you're missing really though is that there are two different issues. Is the way I see it is that the contract for the money is one thing that needs to be settled. But what the village did was just deny them street closure for the event.
Never
which has
denied
nothing
it.
to do with the money. You tabled it.
that's
so
not
that they don't-
denying, Danielle, that's tabling it for
Okay,
another
you
month
tabled
until we
it, but
figure out some stuff.
that means that they had to plan. You could have said, go ahead and have your event and we will settle this thing. But in my mind, being here every meeting, is that you did a power play on the chamber and said, we're gonna deny you even being able to be there because you're threatened to sue over money. These are two separate issues, but it's the village board that conflated them when you tabled their permit.
Well, that's your personal opinion on that, but
And who was here
That's
from
my
the
close
chamber?
observation.
Who was
That's your
here
close
from the
observation.
chamber at our June meeting to
No
go
one.
over the closures?
No one.
Zero. No one from the chamber showed up.
Christian was here but never said a word.
He was here.
Yeah, Christian Belsman was here.
Nobody from the chamber spoke.
No one said that we had to make that decision last month, that they needed 90 days to look for another place, or that's how long it takes to set up. That was not said last month.
No.
You know, here it is, the June meeting, this is not till the end of September. Tabling it to figure another month
Yeah.
didn't seem like a deniability by myself or the board.
And then,
Especially when there's no one to speak on the topic.
Nobody stood up and spoken a word about it.
and then the first we hear of it is on July 3rd, which is conveniently right before this meeting.
Mhm.
Really? We couldn't have come to the table?
Did you
and
read the
say,
headline in the
"Yeah,
Baldwin
need a
paper
deci-
today?"
Need a decision at the meeting?
that's a nice headline.
A one-sided opinion?
What's that?
One-sided opinion?
No, that's, the headline in the Baldwin paper.
I don't read the paper anymore. I can't stand just reading.
That's great, that's great, good job.
All right, let's get back to, what are we gonna figure out for trick or treating and the horse parade? They're gonna have a meeting tomorrow morning
There.
to have what, they're gonna counter the contract.
No, but how can we make decisions if we don't have all of them?
We don't have all the information.
Yeah.
How can we possibly make decisions?
Well, we got until Halloween in December, so unless they need 90 days to find a new location for that, I say table it.
I agree. I think it's just the positioning.
Yeah.
It's positioning and posturing to get everybody riled up.
Okay,
Horse parade and Halloween,
sure.
because of this whole chili fest thing.
One other question, what is the board possibly worried about getting sued for? What would they possibly be sued for? Tourism money?
We don't know. They just said they would sue.
They can make all the threats they want.
So as somebody who's been at the board meetings, as someone who has attended the tourism meetings, like I think there's a lot more than one side has told somebody and someone's told the other side. There's different points of view here, right? Can I ask, has it been approved in Woodville yet? Has it gone to the board and been approved in Woodville? So it would have been no different if they approved it today. That's what I'm saying. Let me finish. And as a thing, everyone keeps saying that, oh, they're using it as a power play, they're not letting them do it because they're gonna sue them. Like, let's be real. You own a business, there's business owners in here. If someone came up to you and said they're possibly gonna sue you, but the next day said they wanted X, Y, and Z from you, would you do it? Would you? Would you as a business owner do that? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Generally, to be sued, you have to do something to be sued for.
Well then, right, but like to threaten somebody continually, would you do that? I wouldn't do that. And I'm still speaking, Carrie, thank you. I still have the floor. I think this has gotten ridiculous. It's tearing our community apart. There's things on Facebook that shouldn't be on Facebook. People are being rude and crude and vile. It needs to end. People need to sit down and get together and talk. And not this one-sided, I'm gonna run to the paper, I'm gonna post on Facebook, I'm gonna say naughty, crazy things about people. It is so far out of hand. This is not the Baldwin I grew up in here. I lived in Baldwin my whole life. And I'm tired of hearing about the good old boys sitting up on the board. I think that was one of the comments on the thing, or you have to have the right name. Like, to be honest, I've lived here half my life, my whole life actually, and I didn't know some of these people were even on the board till I started going to board meetings. So that is a bunch of rubbish, and all we're doing is letting people not become part of our community, not encouraging them to volunteer, to run for board meetings. We sit in here, we point the finger, we say, board bad. The board's bad. You need better communication. Well, maybe better communication goes all the way around.
I'm not saying
This
the
is
board is
stupid.
bad. I'm saying the board.
And you're in here griping and yelling and
The
saying,
board
good
and
for
the
you.
chamber
Like,
have to get
it's
together.
terrible. This is not what a community should do. It's not
That's
what
right.
a village should do.
That's right.
It's
That's
terrible.
gonna come to this. Could agree with you 100%.
Like, this whole thing is so ridiculously out of control, and this
Yep.
pointing fingers and going on Facebook. Do you realize that when people go to the village Facebook and the chamber Facebook and every other Facebook, that's what they see of our town. So if you were to just checking out Baldwin to see if you were gonna come here, when you read that, would you wanna live here? Would you wanna open a business here? I sure the hell wouldn't. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not what we're
I
about. It's
agree.
not at the core of who we are.
And what I say is that the board and the chamber can't get together, we got an issue. There's a problem.
I
told us that a few times.
represented
Yeah.
this community in my younger years. I volunteered countless hours because I love this community. I love this town, and it gets trashed, just completely obliterated on Facebook, and completely obliterated in the media. It's terrible.
One side.
Do you believe everything you read?
Well, do you? Everybody on the internet does. If it's on the internet, it must be true, because that's what half the people are here for. They're hearing half a conversation. No one in this room besides the chamber, the commission, the board have been in every meeting, have been in every commission meeting. None of you have. You haven't been there to see it, to hear it, to understand it fully, but we hear sound bites and we take that as fact. That's not true. There's more to the story.
Well, it's a fact that the Chili Fest is moving to Woodville.
Well, and guess what? It's the Baldwin Woodville Chamber. Maybe should have done that 10 years ago.
Maybe
It should have
should've.
shared it all around if Woodville was so darn important, which they should have been.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there.
Sorry,
On a lighter
it's
note-
terrible.
On a lighter note, that's uncle and niece.
Oh, yes, but no,
Yeah.
he's my first cousin. He's
Oh,
my dad.
first cousin, okay. I know it was family, so. You take your family
So I get to
affairs
yell at
outside.
him.
No, it's all right. Carrie, do you have something to say?
I do, if it's okay.
Yes, you can.
So the chamber, there's a lot of questions as to this threat of the chamber suing the village of Baldwin. That threat was not necessarily a constant threat. It was in a letter format in January to the village from our attorney after receiving no response in any capacity to any of the things that we're requesting, including an open records request in which we've paid nearly $1,100 and received nothing to date. So we have no open records.
May I stop you for just a
Nope.
second?
It's my moment for just a
Okay.
second. We requested the open records, paid that fee, and to date still don't have that. We had no choice but to express and receive a lawyer advice for our chamber board as to how to progress and move forward, just the same as you consult. a lawyer, ask what's right, what's guide us, do those sorts of things. That's why we did that. That is the only time litigation was ever said. When our attorney spoke here on behalf of the chamber during a meeting with the Tourism Commission, it was not well received. We've been told if our attorney comes back in the room, you're not willing to work with us, not willing to have a conversation. That's a very difficult place when we're trying to work together. And so the contract was given. The board has to have an opportunity to vote on it. The 2 in attendance at the meeting on the 17th of June are not enough when you have a board of 14 people that need to review that contract, have it go through our attorney, and give us advice on what we should do. Our board meeting is scheduled for tomorrow morning. So that's when they will review and send that back. We did not get that until 2 days, 5 o'clock in the afternoon prior, because on that Monday of the 15th, that's when our attorney received it and then forwarded it to the board members. So coming in here on that Wednesday, they had not seen that contract. And neither did the rest of the board or myself. And I was not here because I was gone until the 22nd. So this is where we're at. With the deadline and the post that we put on social media, it was because we are getting asked for vendors, setting things up. We have a responsibility to our sponsors and corporate partners whose membership dues include Chili Fest. If we got a meeting last month that said this is closed until a certain date at which an agreement is signed, there is no there isn't a date currently set for the next Tourism Commission. If we didn't meet an agreement by today, you're not signing anything. We haven't even looked at it until tomorrow. That brings us into the August board meeting, or requesting another special meeting in which we'd have to pay an astronomical amount to have everybody sit and review that before August. That is less than 8 weeks to plan a major event. That wouldn't be asked of the Fireman Street Dance or Windmill Days or anything else. And we've come before the board months in advance for years, come in, submit the same exact request. It's approved, you're done, go home, not even speak a word. Christian was here as a representative at that board meeting, but everything was tabled before a discussion could take place. So we said nothing, and that's where we're at. So we have to look at another option. Woodville has not yet approved us. We're going through the permitting process to do that. We'll know next week. That's where we're at.
It is not true that your lawyer did not repeatedly threaten litigation to our attorney. All of the tourism committee meetings that he was present at, he brought up litigation every single time. He brought case law, an example with him, and told us all to read it and better take note or else. So that's not accurate, Gary.
Our attorney didn't threaten litigation in those meetings, but he did bring case law to say what he needed to say and speak on behalf of the chamber.
And said to our lawyer, you better tell your committee members to think real hard about this and their decision, make the right decision, and said, and walked out. So yeah, inferring and looming litigation threats are the same thing to us, Gary. This isn't gamesmanship and
It's not, but for the
posturing and all
people
this
who
other
sat in that
nonsense.
meeting, your attorney, our attorney addressed that going to closed session in a committee meeting is not legal. And your attorney, you guys said you were gonna do it anyway, and your
That's not true
attorney
either.
told our chamber, told us to add it to our list of lawsuits.
That's
That
not
was
true.
stated in that meeting. It
And
was.
once again, we're
No, it
just
wasn't.
threatened with more lawsuits.
They said we could put it off to another month. That's exactly what
We're
was
not
said.
threatening lawsuits. I'm adding this to my list of lawsuits.
That was said by your attorney.
Oh,
to
my
our list,
goodness.
add it to the list of lawsuits from you.
This might be the silliest thing I've ever heard.
Yes.
Oh, no, you should have been here for about skateboards on sidewalks. That was way sillier. That went on for like 4 months. That was fighting between board members.
Absolutely ridiculous.
They've been sitting here since they were told it was done, they needed to pay for it. They sent a check, it's been sitting here ever since, waiting for them to pick up. Because it's not the village taxpayer's job to pay for postage to them for someone who had an open records request. It's been done, and it's been paid for. They sent a check, no one from that commission has come in to pick it up.
How long has that been done? Months?
Months.
Okay, well, we're still, we haven't made a motion for the trick or treat or the,
Motion to table.
okay. And the horse parade.
Both of them.
We got a motion. We got a second.
Second.
Motion and second to table till next month for the closure of the trick or treating and horse parade. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? F, discuss approve 4-year contract with HydroCorp, non-residential cross-connection utility inspections. Graham?
So it should be in your packet, this is a renewal of HydroCorp, commercial and industrial, cross-connection inspection. Part of our cross-connection inspection program, we've worked with them for probably 10+ years. Our contract is ending here for last year, we did a 1-year contract. So looking at the contract, it's roughly a 4% increase each year. They do a phenomenal job. They take care of all of our industrial, commercial, making sure the water, nothing get backfeed into our water system, keep everything safe. It's part of our DNR required control, backflow prevention control program. So just looking to re-up the contract for 4 more years.
Everything's going good with HydroCorp.
Yeah, they do a phenomenal job. So
Jody, you use HydroCorp for all the...
Yep. So they take care of everything, they keep giving notices, they go back, re-inspect, they kind of just do all of it. When we get to a point where they haven't responded or whatnot, they'll contact us, but it doesn't happen very often.
Is it in that, what's that, or I mean, Mark?
Indemnification.
That's it, that's in the contract with HydroCorp.
It's in every contract.
All right, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Graham, is the current annual amount that we pay the same increase as what it is going to be when we harvest?
Yes.
Same 4%?
Yep, and there is, so they do a certain amount each year, so if there is above that, like if there's different business or whatever, then they just do, it looks like $173.47 per additional if we had somebody started with
Yeah, that's, okay.
whatever, so that's spelled out here as well, so that's the rate that is figured into this, so it's just an additional if there was, they did happen to have to do some extra ones.
I make a motion to approve the 4-year contract.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the 4-year contract with HydroCorp. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Planning Commission, review and approve with revisions to the village ordinance 271-5 residential driveway width. This is for the 3rd month now, and we would approve it last month, and it wasn't as approval. You weren't here, were you? Mark just said discuss it and would approve it. So we couldn't approve it.
We were this close, and then it was
So,
all done.
I think we've done this for the 3rd month, I think we all know what we want.
Do we just make a motion to approve
Yes.
now? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the, is it the amended?
Yeah, amended 271.
Yeah.
Well, we have a second. Motion second. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Put that one to bed.
Like,
Yeah, on the website, as quickly as possible.
That
Report
was
an
going in
exception.
community.
Okay.
No, on next month, we have a different sheet. That was mentioned on it.
A different what?
are you gonna prolong this another month?
No. No, go for it.
Okay. B, June 22nd, 2026 special planning commission meeting. I wasn't there for it. Special, you see the minutes. Review the previous chapter revisions. Amy, what do you got on that? You just
Still
review
working.
it. Still working on it.
Still working, and, July is our last one. and then-
Well, we're gonna go out another month.
And then August will be.
August will be a wrap up, and then
The
we'll
wrap
probably
up.
look at
You did previous chapters and then the
September.
land use and the implementation chapter, so, okay.
Maybe parks.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we have to look at parks
And we'll
again.
look at parks again.
And I'm sure Mark will remind me of that.
It was a long meeting.
Yeah.
They all have been.
It was like 3.5 hours.
They all have
Are you
been.
serious? Did people buy pizza?
No.
Was there food?
No,
No.
but it is kind of an important chapter of future land use to look
Yes.
at. Basically, it has a future land use map included in that as well, where developments come in and where is the village looking to put residential housing, where is the village looking to put commercial, and so we did spend some time on it and actually felt like it needs to continue, and so it'll prolong the process a little bit. But that's all right, it is important. It's true.
The last 3 months have been incredibly long. You should have been here.
They should have scheduled during the winter when I'm laid off. June 18th, 2026, park board meeting, you can see the minutes. Christine, if you want to give a little update, I wasn't there. That one either?
Yeah, that one, let's see, we talked about the recent vandalism at Mill Pond Park and some solutions to address that, including surveillance, and some different options there. It's an unfortunate topic, but it's come up, I would say, several years now, so we're probably going to pursue some options, and you'll see that coming forward in future months. We talked about the Windmill Park playground equipment and then the walking path. So we talked about updating some of those. And then also the expense associated with the park, and that we don't really have the funds for that. So we explored some different options, grants, maybe other sponsorships or sort of booster type events that can help raise funds for that. So we did some brainstorming on that one. We talked about the Mill Pond ballpark fields, and we talked about the need for backstops or netting for the fly balls. You all know we stand at that concession stand.
Well, did you talk to Grant about this? Because that was my next question, was going to be asked about this. Because remember the Ball Association came up with their back fees, and our job was to get all that netting put up for them. I know. I was wondering if you got, have you looked into more of that, or?
So we talked about netting. The problem is it's pretty expensive, and it's, I don't want to say temporary, but it's gonna fail over time. So in my opinion, we try one of the, raising the backstop on one of the fields, see if it's worth the money we spend on it, and then if it is, pick the field that's the most used or most, I guess, dangerous, and then if it works, do the rest of them slowly, the ones that need it the worst.
Honestly,
Well, I'm gonna say it. It'll save us from getting sued.
I think one and four would be the most
Yep.
important in my opinion.
Yeah, so,
But yeah, start with one.
right.
Sorry, sorry to cut you off, Christine.
Well,
Go ahead.
we're looking for potential for our golf association on that, because maybe we could get more of them done. Did you talk to the golf association yet?
No, I haven't. Nope.
Windmill Days came and gave us a update on their future plans, very similar to what we talked about here tonight. And then looking for, guidance on expanding the Windmill Days events, and then also their position in the community. And that was about it.
Did you touch on the vandalism situation?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay, I didn't have it.
So we'll have to see what solutions we can come up with, but I would say we're at a point now where vandalism is a recurring theme, and not one that we can wait on anymore. So it's how are we gonna get it done, and what are our options, more than should we do this or should we not do this, so facilities are just hanging up closed, right, which defeats the purpose of having facilities.
Right, because then it makes me wonder too, if we were to have a during that, what happened there.
This has been an ongoing issue. I don't think the last year or two we've had any vandalism, but.
It's usually kind of minor, hit or miss, but yeah.
Minor,
it happens
yeah.
every summer.
Every once in a while, it becomes a serious, it was like 3 years ago, we had a major problem. But I think the police department did find
Yeah.
the guilty parties that are paying for it, so. Okay. Eric, department head time.
Sent a letter to DOT requesting review of speed out on Highway 12, east of town here. Similar kind of letter that was sent for the request to get speed reduction 63, just explaining the situation businesses are. That's about it.
This was it. Mitch, you got anything?
I kind of gave you an update, with the pay request, so.
Graham?
Yep. All right, Public Works, we've been, filling those potholes, spray patching when the weather's allowed. Actually, Zach's been out quite a bit doing that lately here. Trevor's been brush mowing around storm ponds, ditches, all that fun stuff with their big brush mower, the bigger tractor. Every year we do, flushing of dead end sewer lines because they're dead ends and don't get much flow. Rich and Cody completed that. We did flush water hydrant, dead end water hydrants. And after that, we did a couple water leaks, but we don't know if it's 100% from that, but more than likely it is. So we had 2 water leaks, middle of June, early June, the same night. So we got them fixed straight away by Albrights, and they helped us out and actually went really well. So that was good. Our summer help employees have been kicking butt. They've been doing mulch, weed whipping. They've been up here the last couple days painting in the old police side there. They're doing a great job. Like I said, they did a whole bunch of mulch in different areas. The street project, full swing, water and sewer. They've completed on Maple. They're pretty much halfway up 8th Avenue towards Main Street with sewer and water both in the same spot right now. We did our samples or they did them, for the Maple Street water main, and our first set was safe, bacteriologically safe, so that was phenomenal, because we've had issues in the past, so that was fantastic. So now they can keep moving on with the project without holding anything up, without waiting for samples. It's a process to get them. So as Mitch said, they're a little bit slow. I'd say they're inexperienced, but they're willing to learn and listen. And we have one massive asset on our team named Jeremy Sarr, who goes up there, kind of picks their brains of what they're doing next, and has provided a huge amount of information to them, and they've been soaking it up like, oh, why would you do it that way? It's a huge asset. Like, he's phenomenal at being able to help them pick up their pace a little and just think about why they're doing what they're doing. And these guys are trying hard. Like Mitch said, they requested work on Saturdays already. Some of it was weather related, some of it they just want to keep going. Like I know rain day in the middle of the week. So it's not a lack of effort at all. It's just a little bit of inexperience, and I think they're responding well to what's been told to them and asking great questions and being attentive. Outfield fencery was moved in. That cost was covered by the Softball Baseball Association. That was the beginning of June they did that. I said in here, metal lane removal started in July 6th, but they started with that outfall and the storm sewer. They left the surface because they didn't want to, with the rain coming here and there, they just said, we'll just leave it, we'll work on that, and get up to the point where they can start removing blacktop. New thickener's been performing well at the sewer plant. That phosphorus analyzer that we got like a month ago has been installed, and actually has already been a huge, hugely useful for tracking phosphorus spikes and for sampling and all that. It's been actually really helpful. We're just kind of gauging where we're at. It's a snapshot all day long instead of one check during the day or at one time. It's kind of a ongoing. It goes every 15 or 30 minutes, pulls a sample and does this thing. That's been hugely helpful. A couple things I don't have on there because it just happened. Yesterday we finally picked up our 2026 Ram 2500 from Bernard's that we ordered back in February. Getting the stickers on it, the Village Baldwin, and then we're going to get the lights on it when we get back from that. And the only other thing I just, I'm super excited that we got those water samples back. That were not positive, they were good samples, so we keep going with the street projects. In the past, we've had issues with that, so it's been,
First
so
shot.
far so good, yeah.
First shot, you got them, they were good samples.
Yep. We've,
Good.
with Moose, Jeremy, we've come up with some different ideas how to, sample and just things we probably should have been doing in the past, just, not necessarily reinventing the wheel, just a few things that make it a little simpler and a better chance of getting a safe sample, so we've, implemented those, and I feel like last year we did kind of at the end of the project, and that helped get safe samples, and so far, this project's done the same, so we think we're in a good spot with that. Got some pretty good ideas, and the engineers helped us with that too, figuring that out, so I think we're staying good. Cool.
Hey, Graham, why is the green paint around manhole covers?
Those are the dead ends that they flushed, they just marked them
Okay.
after they did it.
I just wondered, because one right,
Yep.
right in
So
front
that's
of
the
my
dead end one,
house.
they flushed it and they marked it so that they knew
Okay.
they did it, so if anybody else had to do it, it was already marked and they knew it.
I was gonna tell them that they were just gonna cut out Baldwin's, sewer. Chief Borg.
All right.
Well, I can always do Van Dam's house.
Thanks.
Calls were fairly average. 80 cases were generated, 336 calls for service, and 128 traffic stops over the month, all kind of an average range. We have staffing. We are going to be hiring Erica Matheson, fill our vacancy for full-time police officer. She'll be starting next week. We're excited to get her going. That'll be a replacement for Officer Van Summeren. Our fleet got a new squad in, we got it up and running, going, all the equipment was installed. There was a little bit of a delay because a part didn't get delivered on time, but we got that up and running. Our plan is to sell our 2 older squads for Explorers. That'll bring our fleet size to about 6, and it's in pretty good condition, so that's good to see. I guess just a little note I made was, you have the street work down there, so there's a stop sign over on Oak, it's Oak and 7th there. You know, a lot of people just from years going through there didn't understand yet, there's a stop sign there now. So we've got a presence in that area. I don't know if you've seen much of a difference down there, but we're spreading the message, trying to create that awareness. Other than that, annual recertifications, our department has been certified for the year, and all officers have met the training requirements necessary to do so. Other than that, our officers have been visiting lemonade stands and so forth, trying to stay hydrated. Any questions?
Thanks, Kevin. Chief Boyer. Welcome back.
How's it going?
You skipped out last month.
I was up north.
No, I get it. I was just asking you.
June was a little busy month, 164 calls, 49 were transfers. So for the first 6 months of the year, we're up 75 calls from last year. So we've been a little heftier. Road construction has still been an issue, especially in the weekends now. You guys follow, they shut down parts of 94, so getting to the hospital, they come, try to check the internet, fix that for, alternate routes to the road, L61, that kind of stuff. So that's been proven, people will learn the city a lot more. Windmill days, we were out and about, we were at the WH open house, we did the parade, the fun run. We actually in the kickball tournament again this year, I got second. First time we actually won a game. Part of that is because part of our hiring process, we actually make them test out on kickball. If they do well, and then out to Ashley and Cordy, they've been taking the lead on practicing kickball with their staff. So it's paying off. Medicaid reimbursement for 2025, I just got notice today, the review process has started, so I'm moving forward with that. Should be getting, I'll go on for a month or 2 before they issue the checks. They go through and verify, like, oh, your utility costs went down 2025 versus 2024 by so much %. Why? Staffing, River's doing great, it's his first month as a full-time paramedic, she's picking up and moving right along. Josh Walzak, one of our full-time paramedics, is out for a month, he's having 2 parts to a surgery. First part's gonna be out most of July, should be back the end of this month, and it's gonna be out for about 6 to 8 months here towards the end of the year, so. He hurt his knee somehow, so. We've been filling in with the PLC's been picking up some of the shifts, but he's out for the long stretch, but Mark and I want to figure out a plan for that, so. We'll get those dates later in August or September. That Safe Haven baby box, all the fundraising has been done, the box was built, it shipped last week, it arrived in our, it was delivered on Monday, it's in our bay right now. Monacan and Windus will be out next Wednesday to start doing the install on it. So once we get in, we'll do some training, and then we'll have that ready to come and look at it, so making progress on that.
Cool.
That's all I got.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Here comes that.
Chief Librarian Bell.
Oh, I like that land.
Kind of figured you would.
So we are 1 month into our summer reading. This is one of the busiest times of the year in the library. So far we've had 4 events, not counting the kickoff and windmill days. We had the science heroes come in, they did some really cool science experiments, got the kids involved, we just got to go out and play safety goggles, they got a huge kick out of it. We sent them on an egg hunt to find dinosaurs. We did little toy dinosaurs in plastic Easter eggs. Who knew you could use it beyond Easter time? They hid them all outside, the kids got to find them. The Carpenter Nature Center, and they brought in some really cool animals that are found in the St. Croix. So we had a turtle and a snake, which I got to hold, so that was always a plus. And then they got to excavate for dinosaur skeletons, or if they were really little, they got to find a little plastic toy dinosaur, but they got to use a hammer and a chisel, like what they brush, like there's a huge out in the field. For those 4 things, we had 184 participants. We did adult night out book bingo. We had 32 people attend, and we gave away over 20 books. All the books that we gave away were books that we were either donated to the library from patrons, or they were advanced reader copies that we picked up when we were at the Public Library Association conference when it was in the cities. Last week we had the 4th of July party. We partnered with the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, 4-H, and Baldwin Royalty. We had over 100 people attend. And the food was all donated by Nielsen, so that was really great. It was just a minimal cost to the library. But yeah, we had a tremendous time. Who knew the old-fashioned hoop rolling would be a hit? Just saying. We're going to offer the Kids Artist Market again this year. We're partnering with the Hammond Library with that, and we're offering it 3 weekends in August instead of just 1 like we did last year. I'm also at Peace Child Care Weekly doing some different stories with a couple of their age groups. And then the library just received their $600 check from the Baldwin Woodville Community Foundation, and that will be used to buy some new children playaway products. One of them is a Wazoodle, which looks kind of like a CD player. They're topic themed, but there's 3 settings. When they come in, I'll bring them in for show and tell. And then some more launch pads. The one we have is hugely popular. So I'll be working with a Playway rep to pick appropriate products. They have some strategies for how to use that money. In your packet should also be the calendar and newsletter for July. So questions?
Keep up the good work. Mark.
Just a couple things. Update on the village treasurer position hiring. The personnel committee will be meeting next Monday to start reviewing applications. We've probably gotten 25 or 26 applications. We have some really good applications this time around that have government experience I'm pretty excited about. So depending on how the meeting goes Monday, we may schedule interviews the next week or the week after. And maybe we'll have somebody by the end of the month, kind of queued up. Village boardroom sound, unfortunately Matt's not here, but we got sound integrated into this now for Teams calls and Zoom calls, and we showed the John Kruk, give him a lot of thanks for all the work he's done with all this stuff here. And last, work is progressing on the old PD area. Public Works has been painting the last week or so. We've gotten quotes, 2 quotes for carpet, and we're getting construction quotes for moving the wall and the door and that stuff. So we're making progress, really good progress on that also. So that's what I have. Kathy Hill.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, I'm just really concerned actually, as a village resident. Your agenda that you put up for July 13th, I don't know what our policy is, but you listed everybody's application, which included their personal information, their driver's license number, and everything is up on a public website.
So, are you talking about on Civic Plus?
No, it's on the website. Just go to villageofbaldwin.com.
Oh, okay.
And when you loaded up the agenda, you've got people's driver's license numbers and everything in there.
Okay, I'll take that. I'm sorry about that.
I just wanted to know what the policy is, I mean,
Yeah,
about
that shouldn't
posting
be-
people's stuff.
I'll have to go back and look into
Okay.
Let's get sued. Mark.
that. Okay, that's all I have.
You can yell at him more, Kathy. I'll let you.
Don't worry, I'm not threatening any litigation. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to have my taxes have to pay something if somebody gets mad. So.
Well, are you going to say something before public comments about Mr. Littler?
Oh, unfortunately, this is Trustee Van Summer's last meeting. We're going to miss him a lot on the board, all the work he's done with the board and the committees.
Especially all the motions on the consent agendas. I'm gonna start.
Right. Somebody has.
Who's gonna take that spot?
Ash's got it now, I guess.
Try. I started
How
trying.
many years, Austin, did you have on the board?
6 years, 3 months.
Well, thank you for the time that you put on this board, and congratulations.
I had brown hair at 26. when I
That,
got
you
on.
can't blame that, no, you can blame that on the big C.
No. Well, that,
Okay, all right. You
well,
can't
no,
blame
I
that.
got rid of my hair for a while.
Wow, he came back that color. So. Anyway, I appreciate the time and the effort you have under the building.
I got one question. The new apartments out by Johnson Tractor there, are they part of the village? They are. I thought so.
Johnson Tractor's part of the village too.
Yep, I thought so.
Yep. Public comments. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes per person. Anybody, public comments?
Public comment. Question.
Comment or question? Because we can't,
We got-
we're in public comment, we can't answer nothing. We're in public comment, so we can't even,
Okay, here's a comment. You told the water guys to come and test their water because we had the chlorine. And supposedly they came out, they wouldn't come in the house and pull it. And we never heard yay or nay regarding the 160 mics of chlorine in our water.
When we sampled your water, we took it from the outside spigot, had no chlorine.
We never had any results back.
We did a visual test with a colorimeter that we have, that we check for chlorine, and it didn't indicate anything. It shouldn't, because we don't chlorinate.
That's why I take a shower and then get blistered, right? Let's go.
We don't chlorinate our systems, so. It can't be chlorine.
Well, there were a couple.
any other public comments?
Yep.
Hello. My name is Morgan. My husband and I, we live on 10th Avenue here in Baldwin. Just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am newer to Baldwin compared to most of you. We purchased our house here about 5 years ago, and we really enjoyed getting to know all the wonderful people who live here. Killer fireworks show, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
even like after 4th of July, I have to say it was probably the biggest firework I've ever seen in my whole life. And I'll be honest with you, I did prepare this comment for the last meeting, was not able to attend, but I think this is still relevant and still want to say it. But I'm here because we are seeing what happens when a data center is being proposed in an area where it simply doesn't belong. And our neighbors in Hammond are struggling through that contentious data proposal, and the people who live there are raising serious concerns about water usage, energy demand, noise, all that bad stuff, right? I just want to say that I am thankful that the Village of Baldwin has already adopted the moratorium, but I am also afraid of how quickly a pushy lawyer can get through those barriers that might seem to be put in place by the village to keep those data centers out of the area. And I also fear that some might believe that the conditions for that crypto mining area operation might have looked good on paper, but from my point of view, I didn't really see anything that barred them from future expansions, offering any financial protections for shifting those hidden costs onto the residents. Nothing that I could see anyway. So I just wanted to kind of say that these data centers often start out small, but they are pressured to expand over time, right? They're kind of, this little operation, I see it as like the gateway drug for, for data centers, and I just really don't want to see one here. So again, I'm just speaking tonight because I care deeply about this community and the people who call it home, and I am grateful that our board has taken this issue seriously, and I hope that we continue to move carefully, thoughtfully, and with the long-term well-being of Baldwin in mind. So that's all. Just thank you for your time, and thank you for your commitment to our town.
Thanks, Morgan. Kathy, you only get 2 minutes.
I'm not gonna go longer than
I'm gonna get time. Is anybody excited?
Well, you know me, Kathy Hill, Baldwin resident. I've actually got just a weird question. I've been going to these comprehensive plan, and it's not really a question, it's a comment. Going to the comprehensive plan meetings, and I love them. I think it's awesome. I'm totally invested. But I was wondering, you know, if somebody could get back to me on this one, is to when, you know, when they talked about trails, I noticed that these trails started in Dutch Heritage Village, but they're not complete. So, you know, you start the trail and then you just find yourself meandering through someone's backyard. And so I was just wondering if that is something we can address in the plan, or no woods can happen there.
Talk to me after the meeting.
Huh?
Talk to me after the meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. That was my weird.
Any more public comments?
Me? I know, you've heard from me so much today. Sorry.
I thought for sure I could hit the gavel.
At least it's only 2 minutes.
Sorry.
Too fast, Lord, too fast.
Okay, obviously you know I'm really vulnerable and passionate when we speak. So I just wanted to say, like, over the past several times on Facebook, it seems like another controversy, another accusation, another post inviting people to grab their pitchforks before they know the whole story, and the board always seems to be in the center of it. I understand we live in a world where criticism often comes easier than compliments, but what concerns me so much is that some of this is built on half-truths and incomplete information and assumptions. I've attended many of the board meetings. I've even had the opportunity to attend other committee meetings. So, what I want to say is while the board ultimately makes decisions, they do so after seeking guidance from their administrator, legal counselor, engineers, financial professionals, and others who also require specialized training and expertise in municipal government. These professionals are employed to understand and interpret the complex network of federal, state laws, local ordinances, regulations, financial requirements, and day-to-day municipal operations. Is our board perfect? Absolutely not. And the cold, harsh reality is, none of us are. But there is a tremendous difference between making mistakes and intentionally and willfully deceiving our community. From everything I've learned and seek to understand regarding the water utility issues, it appears this current administration, it was the current administration that identified the discrepancy, brought it forward not only to the board, but to the public commission for review. My understanding is that the discrepancy originated years through actions of an employee without board knowledge or approval of resolution. The question is not about whether the village had the authority to collect the funds, and not even the question of the public was charged twice, because that's simply not true. A review is still ongoing. All I ask is that we as the public pause until this review is complete and we stop tearing our town apart. And let's pause for a moment and also think, if someone on this board or administration was truly trying to hide something or to take advantage of the public, why would they be the ones to discover it, report it, involve legal counsel, and publicly work through the process of correcting it? Also, why would they intentionally harm the very community in which they live and pay just like we do? To me, that doesn't sound like corruption. To me, that looks like accountability for an issue they didn't create.
Any more public comments?
I'd like to say something. Sorry.
State your name and address, please.
My name is Luke Reed. I live at 510 Summit Street. Nobody else had to state their address.
1300 Franklin, Baldwin, Wisconsin.
1150 said that one.
You said Morgan said your address.
Okay. So, a little bit of my curses. I'm a book nerd. I read 1984 all the time, and I get, it's, imagine my dismay when I see flop cameras out there. I'm just wondering why and how it came about, and you can't answer questions, but the federal government seems to know our rights that, to not be scrutinized and have a private life. And it seems to be that their workaround is to let private companies do this and to sell all of our information to whoever wants to pay for it, including the government. So this ties into the data centers. It's not just cat pictures or slides or whatever that they're making. They are selling data on everybody, and this is part of it. Another book that I really like is How If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So, stuff starts at one spot and it moves on. If I'm not mistaken, I know there was a camera on 94 for a while, and I understand it, I am a Luddite, but that's the way it goes. It's just a little concerning that now they're on 12 and they're on the north side of 63. And I just think it is a concern because the placement of the cameras seem like they might be catching people's businesses or their personal property. And I guess I just think, very concerned about litigation around here, so I would hate to see the township sued. And the other part is, it does seem like I said, they're finding a loophole with the corporate angle. And from what I understand, along with the data centers, it's they have to go through local governments to get through this. So I am kind of interested on how it all came about. And yeah, thank you for listening.
I recommend you talk to the police chief. Any more public comments? Adjourned. No, you missed it. Ashley.
I did, yeah.
I'm coming out of it. I lost 2 family members in June. I just don't remember June. I missed so much in June. I missed single days in April. My dad died, and then 2 weeks later, my brother died. I keep going to be